sneeze.
No.
Like, should we stop?
I'm breathing in a lot. The podcast.
Hello, the people of the web. I'm MK. This is RK. Welcome to the MKRK podcast.
It's nice to see you guys as usual. Today, we have a really fun topic. We're not playing a game. We're not doing an activity. We are both in the business of customer service.
If you could tell by my outfit.
Yes, she's still in her work uniform.
I just got off work and then we decided to do a podcast. Which obviously I'm fine with, or else I'd have been like, don't come over,
It's
I'm
fine.
too tired.
It's what it is.
You know what? It's fine.
But the thing is that when you're in customer service, you work with a lot of really nuts people. And if you yourself haven't worked in customer service or you don't know anybody who has, people
Ask
are
them.
insane. Ask them their stories because they're entertaining
They're
as
so
hell.
funny.
Yes. So we have compiled some of our favorites for you today to share with you. And I'm going to have you start.
All right. So
Tell us like where it was
do you
your job
want
and
to, should
such.
we, yeah, I was going to say, do you, because like I've only worked at 2 different jobs.
Yeah, I'm only doing the 2 that I've really worked at too.
Okay, yeah. I've worked at a nursing home. Well, it was a retirement home. But like, same thing, different titles basically. Just one has a less nursing staff and less help that is needed.
Yeah.
And now I work at Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree is great. I love Dollar Tree.
Dude, I'm not joking when I say Dollar Tree is such a nicer job than the nursing home.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, like, customer... So, like, the first couple that I'm gonna tell are from Emerald Village. I wrote down, like, really quick ones.
Perfect.
Like, that's the first one.
Okay, that's great. It
Yeah.
reminded me of
I'm not gonna say names because of HIPAA. But yeah, so the first story I have to tell you
Okay.
is when
I haven't heard any of these. 2
of my residents got into a fight.
Okay.
So
They're like old.
they're old. They were both like so we have J and we have C. That's what I'll go with. I'll just use like
J and C.
J and C. So J is like this older man who like has a walker, has a really big hunch on his back. Well, not a huge hunch, but he like has a hunched back.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he was so nice. I'm not joking. He was like one of the nicest residents I've ever had to deal with. He's always like, thank you. That's how he talked, by the way.
Thank you.
He really like was just the sweetest human being.
Uh-huh.
And then there was C. He was 6'8".
Oh, God.
He was a giant. Anytime he came into the restaurant, I worked in the restaurant portion, like the kitchen, and he came in. It was like, "Hi, C, what's up?" It was like he was just tall as hell. And like they were sitting with this one older lady, M, and she started talking really badly about Jay and about how he likes lemon juice with his salad.
That's
Which,
like a normal thing.
Yeah, well, he doused it. It was it was
okay.
kind of like you could drink it afterwards because of how
okay.
much he put on. But it was like he didn't drink it. It was just he had his lemon juice in his salad, and that was it. And he liked a lot of lemon juice on his salad.
Okay.
And she was making fun of him for it. And he's like, "Could you stop talking mean about me?" And C stood up, and he's like, "What do you have wrong with her?" And he's like, "She's just making fun of me," basically. And they started yelling at each other. And, like, my favorite thing was, like, it was just, so Jay is probably as tall as I am, so, like, 5'5". And there's a 6'8" giant who's towering over him, and he's like, "Do you want to go out into the parking lot and solve this?" And we were like, we had to pull the lever, which means the nurses come running in. And we had these nurses break up this fight in the dining room. It was just like, oh my gosh, are you two okay?
Are they, like, okay in the brain? Okay.
Well, they were in a independent living. So
okay,
yes.
so they're okay.
Yeah, it was just that they needed more help, which is why they're in a retirement home.
Sure.
But
they
like,
just wanted to blow off some steam, I guess.
yeah, it was just like ridiculous. Because it was like the first and only time I think I've seen anybody like fighting.
Yeah.
The only other time I've seen people fighting at where I worked was like, just yelling, basically.
Okay.
But that was, like, the first, like,
Did they,
almost
like,
physical fight.
Try and throw hands?
Yeah!
Oh my god.
And they sat at the same table. So, like, we have assigned seating so we know who's down for dinner and if they miss dinner. Because, like, you want to make sure they're alive.
Yeah, okay.
And they sat at the same table. So how we broke them up for a month, we just split the tables apart for a bit. Which, they were just, like, three feet away from each other.
Did you eventually get the table back together?
Yeah, we eventually got it together, and Jay decided that he wanted the earlier dinner, because we had 2 different dinner times.
Oh, okay.
One of them at 4:30, one of them at 6.
Okay.
And he decided instead of going to the 6 o'clock one, he'll go to the 4:30, so that he didn't see him anymore.
Sense.
And I was like, thank you, Jay, for just being, like, the bigger man in this, and just deciding, like, you know what, I'll do something else so that I won't cause another fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was...
It was
fantastic. I, like, can't believe it happened sometimes, because it's just, like, one of the sweetest residents versus this ginormous...
Sometimes that happens.
Versus Goliath.
Sometimes that happens.
And Em was, like, the meanest person ever.
Really?
Yeah, when she moved out, nobody cared. That's how mean she was.
At least it's, like, not, like, she died and no one cared.
Well, she did die, but, like, people did care, obviously.
Okay.
People were like, oh...
Okay, so where I work, there are also a lot of old people. I work at a restaurant called Baker Square. We do not speak for any of these companies that we worked for. I just want you to know that, yeah. Okay, so the restaurant I worked for was called Baker Square. I was there for like 3.5, almost 4 years. And I loved it, and it was great. These are like a few isolated circumstances, but we tend to have an audience of more seasoned people.
Mm-hmm.
And they just provide the best content. So, this guy, it was almost a year ago today, actually, because it was Memorial Day weekend, and everything was going fine. They were there for breakfast, he was there with his wife, they were nice and whatever, and I came back and I checked on their food, and they said everything was okay. And I came back the final time to, like, check on their food again, / give them the check, see if they needed anything else. And I was like, is there anything else that I can get for you today? Blah, blah, blah. Did you want some pie? Because we're known for pie. And he was like, no. And you're not getting a tip either. Which is like something you don't really hear, because you should always tip. Even if your waitress was horrible, like, a little something is always, like, that's their salary.
Like, if you don't like them, give them a, like, 5.
Give them a bad tip.
Yeah, just
don't not tip. And so I was kind of taken aback. And I was like, is everything okay, sir?
I hope you said it in that voice.
And he was like, he looked me dead in the eyes and he goes, you're not getting a tip because you're an incompetent waitress that doesn't know how to fill our coffee pots.
Fill your coffee pot?
Yeah, let me explain. So our coffee pot is opaque. So you can't see through it. So they have to tell me when they need more coffee. They're given a whole pot, and he was the only one drinking it. His wife had, like, tea. And so he drank a whole pot of coffee by himself. I asked him the first time if everything was okay. He didn't tell me he needed more coffee or anything. I come back, like, 20 minutes later after their plates are cleared, ask them if they want anything else, and he calls me incompetent. So really, I just cleared their plates, and I said, I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. I hope you have a happy Memorial Day. And they didn't leave me a tip.
You should have just cried in front of them.
I should have. There were so many times where I just wanted to break out in tears, but I didn't.
I think I have only cried after work once. That's going to be the next story, by the way.
Okay. I've only cried after work once, and it was my second day there. After training. It was my first day there after training, and I just broke down because I didn't think I could do it.
No, I broke down after a resident was just super, like, awful to me.
Okay,
this is again
at
my nursing home. And, like, I had this lady, her name's Jay, and she is the neediest person I've ever met. Anytime, this is, like, I think this is my second month in the job. So I was, like, still pretty new, but, like, not the newest person. And she, like, every time I would come out, would call me over to her table, make me go back and get something because I forgot it, even though it was mostly her just needing something else and just wanting to tell me that I was the one wrong. And then she'd be like, once I got it for her, made me go back into the kitchen, get her more. And at one point, like, she was just like, are you okay? Because you're, like, going so slow. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I have other customers.
Yeah.
And, like, I have other residents I'm trying to get their food out to. Like, you guys are the only table that has food. And their meals, I got their orders before yours. But I gave you your food first because you kept whining about it. And she's like, well, you just must be an awful waitress. And I was like, do you mind? I'll come back real quick. And I got everyone else their food. And, like, I remember just, like, holding everything in. And then I got home, and my mom's like, MaryKay, are you okay? And I just started bawling my eyes.
I want to give you a hug. I'm so sorry.
I know. I was just, like, so taken aback because, like, no one was ever that mean to me.
Yeah.
And it was, like...
Like, people you know aren't even that mean to you, but, like, strangers will be just
But it's also,
jerks.
like, I saw her every day.
Yeah, so you weren't
like,
even strangers.
Yeah, no. Because it's like, she's a resident there. Everybody comes back. They sit in the same seats every night.
So she's very aware of who this person is.
I saw her before, I'll see her again. She was just such a mean person. And it was just, like, just that day, too. Because, like, the rest of the time, she was just like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. You could just wait. Or, like, you can get everyone else their things. And I'm like, what happened to you that day? Were you so mean, though?
I wonder if something actually did happen.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
like,
no excuse to treat anybody like garbage.
It's
especially
not. If you're having a bad day, don't take it out on other people. Go and figure that stuff out yourself.
Especially not your waitress, because we don't know you.
Yeah.
But
well,
speaking of taking things out on your waitress...
SpaghettiOs.
So, I was closing, and we closed at, like, midnight, so... This guy came in with his parents. He's a full adult man. He's like 40-something. Okay. I have to preface this.
Yeah.
He's an adult male, and he's with his older parents, and they just kind of sat there in silence while this happened. But he ordered a sandwich that was from our new menu. We changed our menu way too much. Plus, you have those leaflet things that you put inside that have the specials on it. And he ordered one of the special sandwiches. So I rang it in as normal and everything, and the cooks are very new at cooking it too, so when they made the sandwich, they forgot to put the lettuce and the tomato on. No big deal. And I didn't notice because I had never seen the sandwich before. I never had somebody
time.
Yeah, I had never had somebody order the sandwich before. And so I bring it to the table, I drop everything off, I'm like, does everything look right? And they're like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, okay, enjoy, let me know if you need anything. And so I'm across the restaurant, and he does one of the...
Oh, I hate
it when you do that. Do not snap at me. I am not a dog. But they're like... And I'm like, okay. That sounded like a donkey in the
I
hall.
know. What was that? Oh, whatever.
I have no idea.
I probably wouldn't even
So, I went over to the table, and I was like, is everything okay? Like, how's everything tasting so far? And his parents were like, oh, it's fine. And he goes, there was supposed to be lettuce and tomato on my sandwich. And I was like... oh, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't notice that it was missing. I can have them get you some. And he sounded fed up, and he was like, yeah, because, and he picks up the top piece of bread, and he goes, because this is just unacceptable, and he drops it back on the sandwich, and I was like, I'm sorry, sir, I can bring it back to the kitchen and have them put it on, or I can bring it out on a separate plate for you. I can have them remake you a sandwich. We're just trying to make him happy at this point. And he goes, honestly, just take it back and get me a new one with lettuce and tomato. And as he says that, he picks up his sandwich and throws it at me. And yes, and it hits me in the chest and lands on the tray that I'm holding, and I'm like, I will be right back.
Oh,
I was livid. I could not deal with that table for the rest of the night. I had to have my manager come over and bring the sandwich over, bring them their check, everything. I couldn't deal with it. And they tipped me normal. So I was like, you must have been having some kind of day.
Dude, I would have thrown it right back. This is why I shouldn't be, like...
Yeah, you shouldn't be in food service.
That's why I liked, like, the nursing home, because it's like, I know who the bad people are.
Yeah, so you know
it's
what
like,
to watch out for.
Yeah, I know. And
I've
it's
never
like,
seen this guy before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if I saw, like, some guy doing that, I would have just been like, oh, you gotta have it.
Ugh. Okay,
like,
your turn.
Well, like, the other thing is, like, with the nursing home, if someone was being mean to me and they weren't normally were, you could always just be like, hey, are you just having a bad day?
Yeah, because you knew how they usually are.
Yeah, or if they were being mean, you could just be like,
this guy's just obsessed with lettuce and tomato.
He just loves his lettuce and tomato.
Oh.
Alright, I'm gonna go on to Dollar Tree.
Okay.
And, like, I've been working there... I've only been working there a few months. So, like, my nursing home job, I worked there for 3 years. God, what a time that was.
I know. Oh, my gosh. I remember you talking about it so often.
Well, it was, like, every day was something new.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I should... Okay, I'll tell that story at the end.
Okay.
Why I quit there.
Okay.
Okay. But, Dollar Tree, I've been working there... I've been working there for, like, 6 months now.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
You know it's good when you
like,
get
yeah.
through looking at it.
Well, like, the one that I have started is, there was a lady who demanded every single item she had a different bag. Her reasoning...
Oh, yeah.
She was coming through my line, and I had a line after her. This was, like, during Christmas, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, like, packed. Like, obviously, because everyone goes there for, like, cheap bags and gift wrap and stuff like that. This lady comes through, has about, like, 14 items, and makes me bag everything separately. And I was like, alright, that's fine. Because, like, her reasoning was, like, I have arthritis and I just don't want to, like, pick everything up and, like, hurt myself. And I was like, all at once in one bag. And I was like, okay. And then she kept yelling at me because I was bagging them wrong. And she's like, you're not supposed to bag them like that. I'm like, you wanted one per bag.
Yeah, like, how else do you bag? You put it in the bag.
And then she was yelling about every item that she was getting. Well, not yelling, but she was like, this item's so stupid. I don't even know why I'm buying it. I'm like,
then I don't.
Why are you buying it?
Why are you buying it?
It's $1. It's $1. You're gonna spend $1 on it. Who cares?
Yeah.
If it's not a good item, it's because it's $1.
Yeah.
And then, like, I hated this. So she picked up, after she paid, all the bags all at once. Why?
Which is why I was making the face at first, because I was like, what? Okay, my mom has arthritis, so I was like, okay, I get picking up really heavy bags, but if you're picking them up all at once, then it really doesn't matter.
She had a cart, and she was putting them in the cart.
Okay.
And, like, one by one into the cart.
Sure.
And then she put the cart back where the carts were, because we don't have, like, for our store at least, we don't have, like, carts out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You have to bring them back into the store. And she didn't want to do that. So she picked up all the bags, all at once. And I looked at her, and I looked at the person behind her, and they just shrugged at me, and I was like, today is just a day. And he's like, it seems like it. It's like,
awful.
Jesus. I haven't seen her since, luckily, but I was just, like, so flabbergasted by, like, if you wanted extra bags because you needed them for your house, you could have just told me. I literally would have done that.
I'll give you a stack of bags.
Like, don't make up a story about how you have arthritis and need to have a bag per item and then go and, like, lie right before my house. Like, it was so dumb. And then she had a cane, but she didn't use it.
Oh my gosh, people forget their canes at the restaurant all the time, and I'm like, how do you leave?
I know.
I leave it hanging on the counter, and I'm like, what? Don't you kind of need that? Where are you going?
How are you going?
How are you going?
I know. We have 2 canes at our work, right? So, like, we have an empty register that we never use, and we put, like, all of our stuff that people forget at that counter. And after a certain time, then we'll just be like, all right, we'll throw it away or we'll put it back in the store since they didn't come and get it. And, like, we have 2 canes there. One of them has only been there for, like, a couple days, but then one of them, I don't even... Like, I think I was hired and that cane was there.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know what they're gonna do with it, because it's like, do you throw a cane away? Like,
donate it?
yeah, I guess, but it's just like so weird.
Okay, these two are really short, so I'll just tell them one after another.
That's fine.
This lady sat, our drive-thru is closed. It's never been open. The manager's cars are usually there, but one of our managers ran to the bank, so it was open. And this lady calls our restaurant. We pick up and we go, thank you for calling, blah, 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 Baker Square. This is Rachel. How can I help you? And she was like, I have been sitting at your drive-thru for 15 minutes, and nobody has come to help me. And I was like, ma'am, we don't have a drive-thru. And she, like, why she would wait there for 15 minutes with no service?
What? It's like that vibe where the lady's banging on the door like, whoo!
Yes, exactly. It was just like that. It was so funny. And then, also, another time, a lady, answering the phones was the best part. This lady called me, and it was like one of the first pie reservation phone calls that I took. And she was like, hi, I'm just calling to cancel a pie reservation that I had. I was like, okay, what's the name? And she told me her name, and she was like, yeah, my husband had ordered the pie, but he went to the hospital and died last night, so I won't be able to pick it up today. And I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I'm so sorry for your loss. We'll definitely cancel that for you. Like, guys, if your relative dies and you can't pick up your pie, don't freaking worry about it, man.
Just leave it.
I'm assuming it was some sort of coping mechanism.
Hey, I'm about to die. Let me order a pie. Sorry. I love that for them.
Customers
Honestly,
are always TMI.
I love that, though. We have customers like that, too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My favorite thing with picking up the phone during Christmas is, hi, thank you for calling Dollar Tree. Yes, we are open. And it's like, oh, thank you. And then they'll hang up.
Yes. Yes. It's great. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I just called to see if you were open. That information's online, ma'am.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I mean,
tell your
our store
story.
hours can change during Christmas, though.
Yeah, so do ours, but that's also online. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, like, I have one more that I'm going to say from here.
Okay.
What I put down, boys who steal whenever they come in, and they are banned from the store. And why they're
Really?
banned from the store is kind of hilarious, but also like, oh my gosh.
Okay.
So like, there are these two little boys. I'm not joking when I'm saying
What
they're
do you mean
10.
little?
They're
10?
10 years old, and they're banned from our store unless they come with a parent.
Uh-huh.
They are banned from Dollar Tree because during Halloween, they were in the store. It was just them two. No parents, no nothing.
Uh-huh.
This was before we knew them.
Uh-huh.
And there was this old lady who was just minding her own business looking at our Halloween decorations and stuff.
Uh-huh.
These two little boys started throwing a football over her, and she's like, can you please not do that? And it's like,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to do that in general in a store.
Uh-huh.
And they just push her over! They pushed this old lady over!
Was she okay?
She was fine. We had to get an ambulance, which is why they're now banned. But they pushed her over, knocked down most of our Halloween decorations, and ran. And we're like, oh my
Makes sense
gosh!
with their hand.
Yeah!
Yes.
And like, oh, they were 10.
I can't imagine doing that when I was 10.
Like, what 10-year-old goes in and is just like, I'm gonna push over that old lady.
Yeah.
She's in my way when I'm trying to throw a
Who
ball
wakes
inside.
up in the morning like, I'm gonna throw a ball and push a lady
You know what?
over.
It's time to push over an old lady. Knock out one of my things
That's
on my
great.
bucket list.
I mean, like, I feel bad for her, but, like, as long as she's okay.
Yeah, she was fine. But it was just like, kind of just like, oh my gosh. This was before I got hired, by the way.
Uh-huh.
But like, when I heard that story, because like, they come in
Uh-huh.
every once in a while, sometimes without parents, and we're like, get out of the store.
Yeah.
And I'm
Do
like,
they ever protest?
no,
Like,
well,
why? Blah, blah, blah.
no, they just get out. Usually
Okay, good.
they know, they know why. Because we had to call the cops on them whenever they came in, too. That's my other favorite thing. You just pick up the phone and they'll run because
Yes.
they think we're calling the cops. And
I have an ambulance story.
Okay, go ahead. And then I'll tell why I quit Emerald.
Okay. So, there was an older woman. She was like one of the last people in the restaurant. And as she's walking out with her friend, She trips over nothing.
Ooh, lawsuit.
And
it was what?
She, no joke, flew. Like,
sorry.
I know, it was funny. Like, she's okay, everything was fine.
Oh
she
my gosh.
flew, like, 3
Oh,
feet. Yeah, she was, like, over here, and she went, and fell. And she was like, oh, ow, don't touch me, oh my gosh, my elbow. And, like, her friend was, like, not having it. She was, like, we'll call her Janine. I have no idea what her real name was, but she was, like, a Janine. And she was like
a Janine.
Oh, come on, Janine, get up, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, oh my god. And so I saw this happening because I was a host instead of a waitress at this point.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my god. So I called an ambulance and I was like, oh, what? And that was me calling an ambulance. And so my manager came out and, like, got one of the cushions from the chair and, like, put it under her head and tried to make sure she was okay. And her friend's just sitting there in the lobby watching her be in pain. And she was like...
Did she, like, break anything?
No, she was completely fine. But especially for her age, it was a real...
Yeah.
And so she was... oh my god, it was ridiculous. And so the EMT guys came, and this guy was hilarious. He was like... What happened? And she's like, I fell. And he goes, well, why'd you do that? That wasn't very smart.
I've fallen and I can't get off.
She looked at him with, like, demon eyes. Like, what did you say to me?
That would have brought my spirits down. I would have just gotten up off the floor like, you know what, you just kidding me.
Honestly, yeah. And they took her away in an ambulance, and we cracked up laughing. I think she did try to sue because the police needed my statement because I saw it. And they were like, she's saying she tripped over the podium that was in the way. And I'm like, no, the podium where, like, you go up to be sat is off to the side. I saw her. I was looking at her feet because I try not to make eye contact as they're leaving because then they'll ask you for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw her. She threw herself. And one more because I want you to end with your why you quit Emerald Village story. Mm-hmm. The other time we had to call an ambulance besides, I'll make it quick, besides when they had to call an ambulance for me. Which
dude!
Is a story all in itself. And I work at Wendy's too, but honestly, I'm going to save
We can do a part 2 for sometimes in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to save that, my Wendy's stories, because you wouldn't believe them, for the next time we do this. But, last but not least, there was a group of 4 people, 2 couples, again, older, at my table. Everything was going fine, except for one of the ladies was kind of out of it. She didn't say much the whole time. It was weird. Mm. And I set down her food and everything, and she, like, wasn't eating. And so when I came over to check on their food, I was like, is everything okay? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can get for you? And she still wasn't responding, and I'm thinking maybe she's deaf, but she was kind of, like, hanging her head and not doing okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I was like, I asked her husband, I was like, is she okay? And he was like, oh, yeah, she just has diabetes. She has, like, low blood sugar. And I was like, okay, do you want me to get her some, like... The piano starts playing. Do you want me to get her some, like, lemonade or, like, juice or something? And he's like, no, I don't think so. But I'm, like, hiding...
He's just, like, wanting her to die.
Kind of. And I'm thinking, okay, her husband probably knows her best. Maybe she just gets a little sleepy and wakes up. I don't know. I hadn't had much experience with diabetes at this point. Now I do. A friend of mine has it. It's very interesting to watch how they deal with it. That's her mom playing the piano upstairs, if you can hear it.
Oh, they probably can. It's kind of loud.
It's okay. It's beautiful. It's background music.
It's hallelujah. Oh, did you hear that crack?
No, I didn't. I thought you were gonna say, did you hear my rendition of Hallelujah?
I
did.
Dang.
It was beautiful.
Daniel.
Anyway, I'm, like, standing behind the wall that we have there, and I'm kind of, like, watching. And I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna, like, go bring her some applesauce or something. And so I brought it over, and I was like, this is on the house, you know, just try and get her blood sugar up and everything. Mm-hmm. And she's, like, head to her chest, not responding at this point. Like, she's breathing, and she's, like, mumbling, so I know she's awake. And so I go and I tell my manager, just like, hey, heads up, this lady isn't doing so hot. I don't know what her deal is. Her husband says she's fine. The couple that they're with say she is fine. So I'm assuming she's fine, but she doesn't look it. So next, I usually check up on a table like once or twice. I kept coming back to this table just to make sure she was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I come back and there's something gross on the table. I don't know what it is, but her face is in it. She's like asleep on the table.
Aww.
And I was like, oh my gosh, is everything okay? And he was like, yeah, she like threw up and she passed out. Like exactly in that tone, no panic whatsoever. And I was like, okay, I think we're gonna call an ambulance now. And he was like, no, you really don't have to do that. And I was like, with all due respect, sir, I think we're gonna call one anyway. And so I went back and I told my manager, I was like, call an ambulance, like, right now. This lady is, like, too old to be having this kind of diabetic attack.
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
And so I brought out some, like, wet cloths, and I put them, like, around the back of her neck. We had a guy come out, and he cleaned the table, and we were talking to her, and we're like, you're okay, the ambulance is coming. And so the ambulance came, and, like, took her away and everything. They were like, it's a good thing you called. And I'm like, yeah, I thought so, too. And it was like, I was like so panicked and I was flustered, and she was okay. She ended up being fine. Her husband was like, no, actually, I'm thinking it was a good idea that you called that ambulance. And I was like, no! Exactly. I was like, really? So that scared me, but I mean, that's the second time we had to call an ambulance. Mm-hmm. But let's end with your why you had to leave your wonderful retirement home job.
I have one quick story. It's like super quick. So see from the earlier, the 6'3" giant.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of like when I was working there, he had to get a like electric wheelchair.
Yeah, like a motorized scooter.
Yeah. Because he's so tall and he just couldn't stand up anymore. He ran over his cat. Yeah.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. Oh my god. Did
he ran over his cat. No. It was really bad.
Was he sad? Did he panic?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, we just found a dead cat in the hallway. It wasn't me, thankfully, or else I would have thrown up and passed out. But like, by the way, I'm agoraphobic, like real bad. But they tried to bring it to the vet because it was like, and they just had to put it down because all of its like legs were broken.
Oh.
They had a couple ribs. Anyways, that was, I think, the most horrific thing I.
That's a story.
Yeah. Okay. Why I quit my job. Mm-hmm. So worked there 3 years. At the end, I was mostly working in the kitchen. They tried to get me to be the chef, by the way. I'm not a chef, if you couldn't tell. I'm 20.
You don't look like a chef.
I know, I don't. I can make some mean waffles, though.
I love waffles. And cereal.
In the morning, I will make waffles.
I love that.
But, like, I was working in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. It was 85 degrees outside, which is crazy for Ohio. Because, like, I think
what
that
time
was,
of year was it?
It was, like, end of September. It was crazy hot.
That's hot for the end of September.
Yeah, but like, anyways, end of September, and it was 85 outside, and it was 130 in the kitchen because our air conditioning broke, and they wouldn't even bring in a fan for us.
Yeah, and you guys like really don't have ventilation, which you should have in a kitchen.
We don't, and it was like we had all of our ovens running because we were trying to make food for the dinner. And I was back there. I have frequent fainting attacks, by the way. I have had them for a while now.
I do when I'm sick too. So
yeah,
I get
you
it.
have them when you're sick. I just have them every once in a while, just randomly.
Oh.
But like this day specifically, I was like feeling it beforehand, and I was like, I'll feel better once I start like moving around.
Sure.
Got into work really hot, and I started just like falling over, and I'm like, hey. Haley, who's one of my coworkers, I'm going in the office. I'm probably going to faint. If you can follow me with a glass of water, that would be great.
It's good that you let people know.
I tried to.
You don't tell them.
I tried to, and I went in the back. She made me a like little like pillow of our aprons,
That's so
and I
sweet.
laid down on the floor and passed out.
Oh
like,
my
I was
gosh.
thankfully I
At
like...
least you didn't fall.
No, well, I can feel it coming on, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pass out. I need to get on the floor somewhere quick.
Yeah, so you don't, like, hit your head
Yeah.
or anything else.
I wanted to get out of the kitchen so I wasn't in a hot place when I woke up, and so I wasn't on a disgusting kitchen floor.
Sure.
And I got back there, and I was like, can you tell someone that I just fainted? And, like, she was like, oh my god, yeah. So she went and told our chef, who was supposed to be in the back with us, but she wasn't. And I was just back there by myself for, like, 10 minutes. And then I got up. I started working again. I obviously wasn't feeling good still.
That's not smart.
And they're like, MaryKay, why are you up? And I'm like, I need to work. You guys don't have anyone else that could be kitchen. It's like, well, this is like loopy brain me talking too.
Yeah, sure.
Because like when you faint, you like your entire brain's just like. And like the only thing I could think of is I need to get back to work, and that was it. And like I got into the kitchen. I was just like working again. They're like, MaryKay, you're not working. Go into the outside. You're gonna sit at the table and we're gonna call your mom.
Yeah.
Which they should have called an ambulance. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to have me go in an ambulance, and I was like, all right, fine. I go home. I didn't get a text or anything from my manager asking if I was all right. The people that helped me were the people that were waiters and waitresses. I was the oldest one there. I was 19. And it was like, so you have a bunch of children who were working together and who, like, somebody faints. You won't even give us a call saying, hey, are you all right? Or a text.
Yeah,
so
at the very, very least.
Yeah, and
I don't blame you
they
for
didn't want to
quitting.
call an ambulance. And I was like, all right, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
And that was why I quit my job, because it was just so bad. It just got to a point where I was like, I'm the oldest one here. Why am I the oldest one here?
Yeah.
And it was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, I quit because the business that I worked for was just going
your guys
down,
were
and
tanking.
I could tell.
Yeah.
And then, like, I quit, and, like, a week and a half later, the business shut down, and I was like, called it, although everybody else was really surprised. But thank you for joining us for our customer service stories. I have a bunch from Wendy's, too, and you can imagine fast food is nuts.
I'll have to remember more.
And then I'm sure by the time we make a follow-up video for this in a while, we'll have gained more.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
And subscribe. Bye-bye!